Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for tuning in, coming back and watching. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing really well today. And I've got hopefully a quick video here about getting prepared for Luminar 4. There's a lot of conversation about Luminar 4, a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement. I think it's an exciting product. I'm really looking forward to you guys having it in your hands. But I thought, there's some things you should is probably not the right word because it sounds kind of judgmental. Some things you could choose to do to get prepared for Luminar 4's arrival. And these are things I've kind of been doing and things that I kind of have done over time that I think prepare me well for jumping in and diving into the editing, because I think once you get your hands on it, you're really going to want to dive into edit. So let me now talk about 5 ways or 5 things you can do to prepare for Luminar 4. Okay, first thing to do is go out and take photos of things that you do not believe the sky replacement filter is actually going to work on. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous, but I think a lot of people are still, despite seeing all the videos, are going to say, well, I don't know if I believe this is going to work, and they're going to want to try it on their own photos. So go take a lot of photos of different things so that you can see what it'll do for you on those photos. I think a lot of people are going to have photos like this, and they're going to say, hey, is sky replacement going to work? Well, I don't really know. Let's just try it. And then you put in a new sky, and it works great. Or, you have an iPhone photo like this that you took on a holiday, and you just want to put in a better sky, and you're going to stick a new one in there, and that also works great. And while we're at it, one more. Here's another one, like just a photo that I took in a park, and I'm going to get this dramatic Sky 4 and stick it on there, and boom, it's on there, and it's behind the trees and through the trees. This technology is really cool. It's not perfect. I've said that before. I think you're going to want to have a lot of different photos of things like this. Just on-the-go snaps. This is not about trying to make a beautiful, perfect photograph. This is about trying out the filter, because I feel very confident that everybody's going to get their hands on Luminar 4, and just about the first thing they do is going to be try sky replacement. So have your photos ready for that. Now, having said that, I also think another thing to go do, and I hope you've been doing this already. If you haven't, it's a great time to get started, and that is take photos of your own skies. There are, 15 or 20, 25, whatever, a group of photos of skies built into Luminar 4. You've seen that in all of these examples. But I've been taking photos of skies for years. Here's an example of a folder that I keep on my desktop. It's just got a number of different skies on it, cloudy skies, a couple of night skies, several sunset skies, and that sort of thing. And I've just been collecting these, and I'm going to be using these primarily. Now, in my demo videos, I've done a lot of the built-in sample photos that Luminar includes, but the reason I think it's helpful to go take your own photos is because if you don't, your sky is going to look like his sky and her sky and his sky and her sky, and everybody's skies are going to be the same 25 skies or whatever. So take your own, because you're going to love this filter. I think you're probably going to use it a lot to create your art, and I think you're going to want to put your own stamp on it, and the best way to put your own stamp on it is to have your own skies. Okay, another tip, and this is number 3, and that is just get your photos organized in folders. As you probably know, Luminar 4 includes the library component that was also in Luminar 3. So this is just good advice regardless of whether you're using Luminar as your library or something else. But if you don't have your photos organized in folders, I highly recommend you figure out what structure and what organizational approach you like to take, because having an organized library of photos makes your editing and your digital life just so much easier. So here's an example. This is an external hard drive that I keep photos for Luminar on. It's got like 130,000 images. In each of these folders, I've got a drop-down folder, right? So, here's this where I should probably go in. I'll click on that. And then, I've been out to the bridge by my house and taken all these photos over the years and blah, blah, blah. So I've got things organized in that way. That's just how I like to do it. I organize it by location. So that's Austin. I've got Europe, and I've got all these different folders of my various trips to Europe. I think figure out your own way. I organize by location. So I have Europe, and then I've got it by trip. And if you notice, in each trip, I've got it dated as well about when I went. And if I was on an extended trip, a family trip, I just happen to know where it is, right? So you will not know. Won't be clear, but it's clear to me. But in June of 2013, we took a family trip to Europe, and I have 5 different discs. So I just D1 through D5, just how I like to organize it. In August of 2016 and September, we went to Italy. So we went to all these different places. So I just organized it by location. Different trips to London, right? Different places and that sort of thing. My point is just get organized, because you're going to want to have folders and a logical structure that makes sense for you and how you like to edit and how you like to organize at the ready, because even if you're not using the Luminar library, it's just good sense to have your photos organized. I personally like to keep them organized because I'll jump in and say, okay, I want to go edit photos from London or from San Francisco or from the bridge, 5 miles from my house. And then I can jump in and start editing because I know where they are and I've got them dated and organized. So just good advice to keep things organized. I'm a little OCD in that regard, so I'm particularly a fan of this. But figure out your own best method and get it in place, because you're going to want to be able to quickly get to photos, because you're going to remember, ooh, there was this photo of this whatever, and I want to go edit it with these new filters in Luminar 4. Maybe it's a portrait shoot. Maybe you do it by name, something like that. I don't know. But just think about it, figure out what your approach is, and start getting organized if you're not already. And again, just good advice as a photographer of any sort, regardless of whether you're using the Luminar library or not. Okay, the next thing is portraits. I think that filter is going to be very heavily used. It's going to be very popular, and already, a lot of people are talking about the portrait enhancement tools in Luminar 4. So, as I said with the other stuff, get your portrait photos organized and ready to go, because I think you're going to want to have a number of photos to practice on. And this isn't just about organizing your portrait photos. This is about taking portraits, even if you're not a portrait photographer. I'm not a portrait photographer, so I'm taking some portraits as I can. I've got a number of photos of myself because I'm here by myself half the time, and I'm trying to figure out, well, how can I do some portrait work? Well, you know what? I'll go get pictures of me. So I stand in the backyard and I do things like this. But you're going to want to come in here with, the different sort of tools and start playing with them. And I'm just kind of messing around here. Hey, I'll slim my face. I'll make my eyes a little larger, whatever it may be. But you're going to very quickly say, hey, I've got portraits of myself or my family or whatever that look like that, and I want to clean them up a little bit. I'm not a portrait photographer. It's not really my thing, and I find myself drawn to the idea of taking portraits. So I'm like, oh, maybe I can go to this event, take some portraits. Maybe I can get people in the family to sit still long enough that I can take a portrait of them. It's actually made me interested in portraits and portrait taking. Now, I'm not going to go out and try to get photo jobs doing portrait work. I'm never going to shoot a wedding. I feel fairly confident I can say that and not lie. I'm never going to shoot a wedding, but it's kind of fun taking portraits. I might find an interesting person on the street and ask to take their portrait, something like that. But I feel confident enough that you're going to enjoy these tools, that you're going to want to have a number of portraits to practice on, even if you're not sharing them or doing anything with them, maybe just giving them to people in the family. I still think you're going to enjoy the tools. So that's tip number 4, is get some portrait photos if you don't have them already, and get ready to start having fun with them. Okay, and the 5th tip to get ready for Luminar, and this is for Luminar 4, that is, and this is a little bit esoteric, but that is, have an open mind. It is different. You've seen it in the videos. Let me show you here, right? There's different categories of filters. Tools are a little bit different, called different things. Filters are actually called tools now. They're labeled a little bit differently, organized a little bit differently, but it works great. I mean, I think the photos are looking wonderful as I edit them here in Luminar 4, but you got to have an open mind. It is different. If you have a specific, very sort of customized workflow in Luminar 3, for example, that you use, it's probably going to change. So have an open mind. Just go into it and say, okay, things are different. What can I learn? Trust me, I'm a creature of habit. I like things the way I like them. And I like Luminar 3 and Luminar Flex and how they work. And believe me, I'm used to that stuff. Trust me, you've seen all my videos. I use it all the time. It took me a little bit of getting used to, but it was only literally a few minutes. The hardest thing really was like, okay, where did this filter go? And you got to think, things are organized in a logical manner, and they are different. The UI is slightly different, but it's familiar. So don't be intimidated, don't be scared, don't be worried, and don't fight the change. Just embrace it and go into it with an open mind and think, okay, I'm going to learn something. I'm going to have to change a little bit, maybe how my workflow is. I'm going to have to maybe change my creative thinking, but it's not hard. You're going to get it. And guess what? Bonus tip number 6, and this is a total shameless plug, and that is, come watch my videos. I'm going to be talking about all this stuff. I'm going to be sharing tips, tricks, insights, I'm going to be walking through a lot of workflow videos. I'm going to be doing a lot of different things in Luminar 4. I love it. I think it's a wonderful upgrade. I'm excited about it. I'm excited for you to have it. And I mostly just wanted to share some tips in terms of how you can prepare yourself for Luminar 4's imminent arrival, which is coming really soon here in just a few weeks. So that's it for today, my friends. I do appreciate you watching. I hope you find this insightful, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. And by the way, if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. It means a lot to me, and I would appreciate it. And feel free to like, comment, and share the video as well. And that's all I have for you today, my friends. I do appreciate you watching. Have a super awesome day. I'll see you real soon. I'll be back with more Luminar 4 stuff. Have a great one, my friends. Take care, and adios.